This is one of those moments that stops the entire sports world cold. Not because of a missed putt, but because of what happened off the course. Tiger Woods, a name built on dominance, resilience, and impossible comebacks, is once again at the center of a shocking incident. A violent car crash, police involvement, arrest reports, and details that feel uncomfortably familiar. This isn't just news, it's a story that hits deep for every fan who believed the past was behind him. Like, share, and subscribe, because this one, you need to hear. The headlines didn't just break, they exploded, sending shockwaves across the entire sports world within minutes. Tiger Woods, a name synonymous with greatness, suddenly found himself at the center of a deeply troubling situation. Reports of a serious car crash quickly escalated into something far more intense when law enforcement confirmed an active investigation. And then came the word that changed everything: arrested. In that instant, this stopped being a sports story and became a global headline. Fans weren't just surprised, they were unsettled. Because when it comes to Tiger, history adds weight to every situation. Early information pointed toward high speed, questionable control, and circumstances that could have ended in tragedy. What made it even more alarming was how quickly authorities responded, treating the scene with urgency and seriousness. Social media platforms flooded with reactions: shock, concern, disbelief, all colliding at once. This isn't just any athlete. This is the man who transformed golf into a global phenomenon. And now, once again, he stands in the middle of a storm that feels bigger than the game itself, raising questions that go far beyond the fairway. As investigators began piecing together the sequence, the story only grew more intense. Tiger Woods was reportedly behind the wheel of a high-end SUV, moving at a speed that immediately raised concerns given the conditions. According to early reconstructions, the moment unfolded in seconds. A sudden maneuver, possibly an attempt to avoid a vehicle or unexpected obstacle, turned into a loss of control that spiraled rapidly. The vehicle is believed to have clipped an object, potentially another vehicle or roadside structure, before violently veering off path. This wasn't a simple skid or minor impact, it was a crash that suggested something had already gone wrong before the turning point. Witnesses described irregular driving patterns leading up to the Hardith, hinting that the situation may have been building before the final moment. That detail alone shifted the narrative from accident to investigation. Authorities began analyzing everything: speed data, reaction timing, environmental factors, trying to understand not just how it happened, but why. Because in incidents like this, the real story isn't just the crash itself, it's what led to it. And in this case, every clue pointed toward deeper concerns that couldn't be ignored. The moment authorities officially confirmed police involvement, everything changed, and fast. What initially seemed like a high-profile accident quickly transformed into a serious legal situation. At the center of it all was Tiger Woods, and the details emerging from the scene raised immediate red flags. Officers reportedly observed behavior that didn't align with someone fully in control. Descriptions like disoriented, delayed reactions, and not fully aware began surfacing. That alone triggered standard procedure, but in a case involving a global icon, the scrutiny intensifies instantly. What shocked many was the early indication that alcohol might not have been a factor. Instead, attention shifted towards something more complex: possible medications or substances affecting cognitive function. That distinction matters because it changes how the situation is evaluated both legally and publicly. Field sobriety tests, questioning at the scene, and eventual detention weren't optional, they were necessary steps. And when the word arrest entered the narrative, it carried undeniable weight. For fans, it wasn't just surprising, it felt unsettlingly familiar. Because this wasn't uncharted territory. It echoed a past many believed had already been left behind, bringing a wave of concern that went far beyond the incident itself. To truly understand why this situation feels so heavy, you have to revisit one of the most defining off-course moments in Tiger's life: the Tiger Woods DUI arrest 2017. That night wasn't just a headline, it was a wake-up call that exposed a side of Tiger Woods the world had never fully seen. He was found in a deeply concerning state, unresponsive, disoriented, and completely unaware of his surroundings while sitting in his vehicle. The shock wasn't about alcohol, it was about something more dangerous and less visible. A combination of prescription medications, including Vicodin and Xanax, revealed a hidden struggle with pain management and dependency. Tiger later admitted he had no idea how severely the medications were affecting his mental state. That moment stripped away the invincible image and replaced it with something human: vulnerability. He entered treatment, faced consequences, and began rebuilding not just his career, but his life. Over time, fans believed that chapter had closed. It became a story of redemption. But now, with eerily similar concerns surfacing again, that past doesn't feel so distant anymore, and the question no one wants to ask suddenly becomes impossible to ignore. Behind the flashing headlines and viral footage lies a story many casual fans overlook. Tiger Woods has been fighting a relentless battle with his body for well over a decade. From 2014 onward, multiple back surgeries, including a complex spinal fusion, didn't just threaten his career, they fundamentally changed his day-to-day life. Chronic pain isn't something you can switch off after a tournament or ignore between press conferences. It is constant, exhausting, and mentally taxing. For an elite athlete, it presents an impossible dilemma: how to maintain peak performance while managing relentless physical suffering. And that's where the complications emerge. Painkillers, recovery medications, and sleep aids often become essential, but walking the line between treatment and dependency is incredibly delicate. Tiger has been candid about the struggle, admitting that managing severe pain sometimes led him into dangerous territory. This context cannot be ignored when looking at the recent crash. It isn't merely a single lapse in judgment, it's the culmination of years of physical wear, mental stress, and the hidden cost of competing at the highest level. For fans, it forces a deeper question. Beyond the accident itself, what battles is he still facing behind closed doors, and how much have they influenced these moments of crisis? What makes the recent incident even more poignant is the shadow of one of the greatest comebacks in sports history. In 2019, after years of physical breakdown, surgeries, and personal setbacks, Tiger Woods achieved what many thought impossible: winning the Masters 2019. It wasn't merely a tournament victory, it was a statement. The iconic image of Tiger celebrating at Augusta symbolized resilience, redemption, and the triumph of perseverance over adversity. Fans didn't just witness a comeback, they felt it, believing the darkest chapters had finally closed. It seemed as if he had found balance, control, and the peace necessary to continue thriving. That narrative made this latest crash hit even harder. It clashes with the story we believed had reached its perfect ending. Life, it reminds us, doesn't follow a neat script, and even legends can confront renewed struggles. The contrast between his 2019 triumph and today's turmoil is stark, highlighting the fragility behind the image of invincibility. It forces fans to confront uncomfortable questions. Can the man who once defied all odds rise again, or is this another chapter that will challenge him in ways we have yet to see? In 2019, the Masters 2019 became more than a tournament. It became a story of human resilience that the world couldn't stop watching. After years of chronic pain, multiple back surgeries, and public struggles with his personal life, Tiger Woods did something that very few believed possible. He returned to the pinnacle of the sport. Every swing, every putt, and every celebration felt monumental, not just for golf, but for anyone who had witnessed his journey. Fans around the world didn't just cheer, they breathed alongside him, felt the tension, and erupted with the joy of seeing a legend reclaim his place. That victory wasn't just about a green jacket, it was proof that comebacks are real, that even the deepest setbacks can be overcome with determination, courage, and sheer will. People believed the dark chapters were behind him, that Tiger had mastered both his body and his demons. But now, as news of this latest crash spreads, that belief is shaken. The contrast between the triumph at Augusta and the chaos of today is stark, making fans realize that even legends are not invincible, and that every story, even one filled with victory, can have a sudden, troubling turn. This isn't the kind of story fans hear every day. When Tiger Woods is involved, the stakes are always higher, but this situation carries a weight that feels profoundly personal. It's not just disappointment, it's worry, and it's the kind of concern that comes from knowing the man behind the legend has faced struggles that go beyond the leaderboard. Fans aren't simply reacting to a crash, they're reacting to the echoes of 2017, the lingering fear that history might be repeating itself. The news hits harder because it isn't about alcohol, it's about medication, the invisible battles with pain and pressure that Tiger has fought quietly for years. This incident feels different because it raises questions not just about safety or legality, but about health, mental state, and life choices after decades under the global spotlight. Social media is alive with speculation, debate, and empathy as people try to reconcile the hero they cheered for at Augusta with the man now in headlines for troubling reasons. There's a tension in every fan's mind. Is this a small, isolated setback, or does it mark the start of a more serious chapter? The uncertainty lingers, and that's what makes this moment feel heavier, more urgent, and impossible to ignore for anyone who has followed Tiger Woods' extraordinary journey. Tiger Woods isn't just another athlete. He is a global icon whose name carries weight far beyond golf. Every swing, every headline, every public moment has historically shaped the way fans, aspiring golfers, and the media perceive him. That's why this latest incident isn't just a story about a crash or an arrest, it's about legacy. Fans aren't only concerned about his health or safety, they're thinking about the narrative of Tiger Woods' life. From dominating majors to battling personal demons, from comebacks that defied logic to moments of vulnerability that humanized him, every chapter has contributed to the mythos of a sports legend. Now this event adds a layer of uncertainty that feels heavy because the world watches not only what he does on the course, but also how he navigates life off it. Every decision, every misstep carries amplified scrutiny. The question that lingers isn't what happened, but how will history remember this? Responsibility, influence, and expectation are magnified for someone like Tiger. Young athletes look to him, fans invest emotionally, sponsors pay attention. And now, this chapter puts all of that into sharp focus, reminding the world that even icons must answer to the weight of their own legend. Right now, nobody has the answers, and that's precisely what keeps the world on edge. The immediate legal consequences are unknown. How long will investigations take? What charges may follow? And how will authorities interpret the evidence? Beyond the courtroom, questions loom about his career. Will Tiger Woods step back from tournaments, or will this affect appearances he's long planned? Physical recovery is another concern. Even without injury, a crash of this magnitude can bring both mental and emotional strain that lingers far longer than the headlines suggest. Fans, analysts, and fellow athletes are left speculating, debating, and projecting what this might mean for the future of one of golf's most storied figures. But perhaps the most compelling question isn't legal or physical, it's personal. How does Tiger process this moment, and what does it mean for his own sense of purpose, identity, and resilience? Every comeback in his history has started with a moment of challenge, but this time, the stakes feel different. One thing is clear, the story isn't over. It's a chapter still being written, and everyone watching knows that the next pages could redefine everything we thought we understood about Tiger Woods, his legacy, and the man behind the legend.